So here's just an update. Lucy is coming into the follower script. As you can see, she has a muzzle on her, which is a mesh, so allows her to breathe, and she can actually drink water with it on. But here the real fix is just to understand as bringing her into leadership. The real fix is, is fulfilling the leadership role in Lucy. And she's held on to a huge amount of power, and that's where the stress is coming from. That's caused a huge stress load on her because she's at the very tipping point. That's why at the relational level, while you're getting her nipping and biting, and then even though she's surrounded by people who are not fulfilling that role, leadership role, she's even putting power onto them, because the whole thing with her accepting certain people interactions as a dog comes to a script of power. And that's why you'll get, it's very deceiving behavior, because you'll get the appearance of a balanced dog at times because they find comfort and fulfillment and power, but it represents completely the opposite. Okay, you have to be able to put it in context. But like with her, that's why you get to a point where you're dealing with way over the top, because it's basically become very entrenched. Okay, so here the transition to bring her to start to work her, so I can at the relational level, so I create change. It's all about control, setting up control so she's not expressing that state onto me. Because again, just bringing her, when I was bringing her into getting her, even getting a muzzle onto her at that level of influence, she showed her teeth one time, that's fine, but it had to be very, very transitional, okay, because that even that level of influence, we're trying to put a device such as a muzzle on her, and it's lining up with a strong personality type. That's why you're going to get that. So basically, if you use treats to which I did, okay, and that they're more background noise. They're not. You don't want them to be part of defining how the person thinks. Okay, they're used to basically get a dog, get a thing into a position so I can then bring influence online. Okay, so basically, so the transition took me close to an hour just to get her with a muzzle on, because the bridge I'm building through leadership. So when she's in the crate, she's basically camping out. But that's what's happened. If you think of it as like with her, the level it hit, it'd be like a narcissistic type of framework within a pathological space. Okay, so she found such fulfillment, comfort, and power when she's coming into a situation like this where it's relational, where I've severed, because she's shown up here for a board train, severed all those connections immediately, that she's being powered over, including the owners, okay? And it's very, there's a different type of reaction, okay? The mind pulls in. It's like wanting to camp out. It doesn't want to come out of the crate, right? So, but just nudging her out by setting this all in motion with the muzzle, starting to bring her into the script, and as you can see, it's going to start to influence how she thinks, okay? So what I'm working off is a relational model. So what I'm doing is knowing at the relational level, the level that I'm fading out, or people are fading out, and so what we're doing is we're bringing or redirecting her decision-making process through me at the relational level, which is basically moments of influence, okay? So here I'm just going to kind of move her forward a little bit. So here you can see me inserting a little bit of influence onto her, okay, like this. Okay, so when I'm doing this, it's not meant to be, it's just nudging, it's pressure. So just pressure, but it's not meant to be a crank with the leash, okay, because it's working really off my personality, right? So this is just a connection point. So her accepting leadership or being moved forward is part of the bridge that I'm building through who I am. So I don't want this to be disconnected. If I exert too much pressure onto her, so here's the same thing. So this is a good example. She'll lock in here a little bit. I'm just going to pressure her a little bit. Lucy. There. So you saw what happened there. When she gets here, I'm just pushing a little bit on her. Not trying to, I'm just dropping the dominoes a little bit in her mind, okay? But you saw that technique there. Just she's locked in. I have to move her forward. Now, leadership is critical, okay? Because again, if I'm working off a weak way of thinking and using certain concepts such as treats, what can happen is, and it's very common, you can get the image or appearance of change because the dog is responding, but it's the state of wanting through power, okay? So they're moving through the motions and doing things, but it's disconnected from change. It's important to understand what underpins response, okay, and what really is working to create change with her. So just understand the progress for today. The goals of today is basically just basic, starting to bring her, just nudge her into the follower script, okay, just getting her used to being with me, because I'm building the bridge for others, okay, so, but again, setting up the control, okay, through the muzzle, so that no one gets bitten, okay, because again, the level she's at, that's why even a little bit of influence, a little change of direction of how people think is triggering aggression. And even those that's what she was like describing as nipping people around her, family members and such, that's from a possessive state of ownership, thinks she owns everyone. But anyone coming in with strong leadership, you'll get a high level of challenge, okay? But how I'm doing it here, I'm not trying to take power away from her all in one day, okay, because she's not going to give it. It has to be done transitionally, okay? It's a process, okay? And it's more that's kind of like nudging her into the script. And that's what influence represents. It's not corrective over the top. It's like nudging, okay? And so what I'm doing, but I'm interrupting certain states and I'm promoting change through leadership, okay? But that's what, at the hierarchy level, that's what really influences the dog's decision-making process. They're relational beings. It's structured through the pack relationship, through nature. So, and then, that's what's promoting change. So anyway, just a little update. She's doing fine. All those just, again, encouraging, same thing. Move forward. You see, she's going to lock back a little bit. And as I move, it's just a matter of nudging her forward here. Oops. Move forward. Again, back. And then back again. When she's here, just touch a little bit, touching. Because this nudging here, what sets up is for the sit position to actually happen, okay, as I'm touching and stuff. Starting to drop dominoes in her mind. But this has a purging effect on her, okay, believe it or not. Yeah, she's into a challenge state and stuff, but that's part of nature. But after a while, she has to balance out and starts to have a big impact on her. So here's the same thing, just nudging. So anyway, that's just a little quick update. Thanks for watching, and I'll continue my updates here this week as I go along with it.